Live from the Oncobian capital, Lumumba, the news source of the African continent, Habari Network International.
Habari gani? I'm Ochanda Gabano Koyo, and this is Habari Network International. We are a news program broadcasting from the nation of Ethiopia, a first world country in Africa. We present the news that's currently affecting the African world in and out of the continent. This program is presented in English for our English-speaking Africans. We look to translate our news in various African languages in the future, but for now, we hope you enjoy our show. Habari gani? I'm Ochanda Gabano Koyo, and welcome to another episode of HNI Weekly. On this week's top stories for the week of November 22nd, 2021. Regulators! Mauna! Ethiopia has a leader both in parliament and on the battlefield. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has taken the fight to the barracks, according to the Ada Standard. In his place is Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen. As the crisis in the country escalates, France, the US, and Britain have advised their citizens to leave. The African Union have called on both sides to agree to an immediate ceasefire. So far, no success. The Tigray People's Liberation Front, known as TPLF, has said it's pressing towards Addis Ababa after reclamation control of the northern region of Tigray. In a social media post shared on November 22nd, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said, "It's time to lead the country through sacrifice. I will join the front to lead the defense forces." The Ethiopian government and TPLF have had tensions since the Prime Minister sacked all TPLF's officials from office back in 2019. TPLF ran the government of Ethiopia for 27 years prior to the sacking. Help me help you. The military that overthrew the Sudanese government have reinstated Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok. The Prime Minister cut a deal with the military and is now back in his government position, but most are unimpressed by the move. The FFC, known as the Forces for Freedom and Change, which includes the Sudanese Professionals Association, the Sudanese Congress Party, the Sudanese Communist Party, the National Umma Party, Unionists Alliance, SLM, and the Resistance Committee have all rejected the agreement. In protest of the agreement between Hamdok and the military, 12 cabinet members resigned. On Thursday this week, thousands of citizens marched in the capital of Khartoum to also protest Hamdok making a deal that civilians say isn't in their best interests. Hamdok did state that he would step down from power if the agreement does not serve public interest. And Kobe ambassador to Sudan, Kimimza Kilonzo, stated that the distrust between civilians and the government isn't an isolated issue, but the government needs to continue to reassure the public. If you can recall, on October 25th, the Sudanese military overthrew the power-sharing transitional government and detained civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and his cabinet, leaving the country in control to defense forces. Real eyes, real lies. COVID-19. A new COVID-19 variant has been discovered. South African Health Minister Joe Fala and other South African scientists have detected the variant having multiple mutations and the probability to spread much quicker. The health minister spoke to a South African council this week and said, "We know that yesterday we announced that our scientists have found another change of the virus because it keeps changing. There is a new one, which was confirmed by our scientists yesterday, which, although it's still very in its early days, it shows that it could spread much quicker and even catch younger people." He also added, "But what our scientists endorse is the fact that vaccination is still the best way of making sure that even this one you can catch, but if you are vaccinated, you are less likely to be very sick and end up in hospital and even ICU." The Ankobi Airline Authority has stated that they will continue to administer the Sebi vaccine to unvaccinated travelers coming into the country. Otherwise, a 72-hour negative test will continue to be required. Shady bank loans taking over from the 99 to the 2000. Allegations of Uganda selling its international airport made headlines this week. According to the Kenyan media outlet, the East Africa, the international airport in the Ugandan city of Entebbe was at risk for being sold to China over failure to pay a $200 million bank loan. The Ugandan government took the bank loan from Beijing back in 2015, but both Uganda and China have denied these allegations. Many on social media have suggested that African leaders have been selling the continent away for quite some time, and repayment of these high-interest loans from China are virtually impossible. The Ankobi Cabinet Secretary of Development, Giruba Simbe, has stated that African governments can always reach out to Ankobia to help out with their problems, but I guess our ice isn't as cold as ice from outside of the continent. The Earth is now fighting back, and unfortunately, we are no match. The government of Somalia has issued a state of emergency. Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Rubel has called on the Somali civilians and businessmen to help out with the drought crisis that has led over 5,000 people to leave their homes in search of food and water. Somalia, which makes up a majority of the Horn of Africa, has been on the brutal end of climate change due to global warming. The Ankobi Secretary General Wangeshi Kamau was in Somalia earlier this year and stated that this earth is continuing to show us that what exactly happens when you treat her like a trash can for over 100 years. Ankobia has been here working with the cattle and camel herders, but to solve this problem, we gonna need to stop fossil fuel companies from operating. So Somalia is home to the largest coastline on the continent. When we come back, we will take a look at this week's African proverb. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Since ancient times, Africans have been known to speak proverbially, and here at HNI Weekly, we don't typically break tradition. Let's go ahead and pick from the jar of African proverbs. Let's see what's shaking. And this week's African proverb doesn't come from any particular African nation or ethnic group, but it reads, "I will love myself unconditionally." Once again, I will love myself unconditionally. How I interpret this is, too many of us get down on ourselves about finances, business, family ties, even our spiritual and religious affiliations. I want to let you guys know, each and every one of you guys are doing a great job. Once again, you're doing a great job. You are where you are supposed to be. Keep going. And you, sir, what is your interpretation of this week's African proverb?
How you gonna win when you ain't right within?
If you have your own interpretation of this week's African proverb, let us know in the comments below.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell for this and other HNI Weekly videos. For more HNI content and to connect with us, follow us on all social media platforms in the description box below. For HNI Weekly, I'm Ochanda Ibano Koyo, signing off.